about this being stock specific. You've actually seen losses there for the likes of Lloyds Bank, Royal Bank of Scotland, BSkyB, a pretty turbulent week for them, and of course the leisure group Halfords. Well, joining me now to talk us through some of the key elements is Alpesh Patel, Principal of Parthenium Partners. Alpesh, a very good day to you. I talked there about banks. I mean, they really have been the theme of the week, and it's the Eurozone again, really hitting them hard on that bottom line.
Well, actually, I've got a slightly different analysis to you there, Juliet. Actually, I think, yes, Europe and the European story, and particularly the Spanish bond yields and the price that the investors are having to pay for Spanish debt has gone up, and there were some concerns. But let's look at the bigger picture with the American markets, and consumer confidence there is at a 4-year high in America, and that's been the reason for the pullback in the States, and that's the spillover into Europe, which has led for the pullback in Europe. Whereas you're right, there have been some losses recently over the last few weeks and this week in the FTSE 100 and so on, but that's only been because we've had a very strong first 3 months of this year in the equity markets. So I actually think that the American side is a very positive story, and Europe comes and goes as positive and negative, but we're talking about a flat European economy. We're not going to get any growth. That's fine. It's not recession.
Okay, and of course it's worth noting, certainly in terms of Europe, again, the thinning down of some of the trades, because we are coming up for the Easter break. But being a bit more stock specific, I want to focus, for example, on Halfords. Now, the interesting thing there is that they've said they're on target for profits, but the shareholders don't appear to believe them, judging by the drop in the stock. Who's telling the truth?
Stock prices can be deceptive, particularly after a news item. I had a very brief look at the Halfords story, and part of this is that, of course, some of this information is priced in and people sell off the back of that. Also, they may well expect, well, this is the peak of the good news. Surely if you announce some good news in terms of profit expectations, you're not going to get better news, so let's get out of there as quickly as possible. Don't forget, this whole area, leisure spending and retail in particular, retail discretionary is what Halfords falls into, of course, is under a lot of pressure from spending in the UK and in European markets, not so much as we've seen, sorry to bring it back to the US, not so much as we've seen in the US markets, where people are gaining confidence, dipping into savings, not higher salaries. But we're not seeing that in Europe, and we're not seeing it in the UK, and that could be one reason for the Halfords share price movement.
Another version of the two-track economy. Alpesh Patel, will leave it there, but thank you so much for joining us for that assessment of the financial market.